I'm Danielle Davis, and I work as a love coach. The reason I work as a love coach is because something I'm very passionate about. I try to teach people how to give and receive love. That's something that all of us could use a little more of, correct? When I think about mentorship, I think about my own experience in mentorship. Because mentorship, whether we're having a mentor or being a mentor, we get to practice giving and receiving love. It becomes a beautiful playground that more often than not is a safe place where the stakes are a little lower than in some of our other relationships to practice giving and receiving love. I would like to tell you today about my experience with having a mentor and being a mentor, and encourage you as well to do the same. Several years ago, I was not as emotionally and spiritually mature as I am today. I started to work a spiritual program because I was in a painful place in my life. And as part of this spiritual program, I had to find a mentor. It was a completely new concept to me. It was a concept where I actually had to be the one to initiate. Nobody came up to me and said, "Can I be your mentor?" I had to find someone who had what I wanted, and approach that person and ask them to be my mentor. Oh gosh, for an emotionally and spiritually immature person, that is asking a lot. But I found one. I found someone I wanted to work with. And interestingly enough, it ended up not working out real well. Don't get me wrong, she fulfilled her duties to me as a mentor, but it was more like checking a box. Assignment 1, we went over the work. Assignment 2, we went over the work, we checked the box. And she quite frankly said to me, "I'm not your friend, I'm not your therapist, I'm not your mother. I am here to help you work through these assignments that you've been given in order to help you grow in this program. That's it." And I stayed with her for about, 9 months or so, before I started to realize that I was in this pattern of almost like a relationship. I'm like, this really isn't working for me, but I don't know how to break up with you. But after 9 months, I ended our mentorship and found another mentor. This time I swung the entire opposite direction. And I found someone who was like, "I don't care what you do, we blah, 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 we'll talk on the phone or we'll get together." But we didn't do hardly any assignments. I wasn't given any direction or accountability, and I could just do whatever I want. So then now all of a sudden I was the one checking the box. Check, I have a mentor. But I wasn't actually doing any work. I wasn't actually working my program. So that actually didn't work out real well for me, because I could say, yeah, I talked to my mentor every couple of months, and really gained no benefit out of it. A while later, I decided to get another mentor. And with this mentor, I kind of felt like maybe she's right in the middle, like she was friendly, she was nice, and also holding me accountable. So I said, hey, this one seemed like it was right here. Let me go for this one. And then as we developed a relationship, I thought to myself, I actually don't know if I trust this person's thinking. And so I realized that wasn't going to work for me either. If that person didn't have what I wanted, if that person didn't have the emotional and spiritual maturity that I actually resonated with, then mentorship wasn't going to work. My next mentor, she was actually a lot like my second. And this whole time I'm getting practice breaking up with mentors, right? But my next mentor was a lot like my second. Super lackadaisical, very compassionate, very caring, very kind, didn't have any accountability for me at all. But I realized I could still utilize her, and I could hold myself accountable. And if I wanted to grow, then I needed to be the one to step up my game. And I had someone that was willing and available as long as I held myself accountable. And this person still is my mentor, has been for several years now. And she is one of my best friends, more than a therapist, more than a mother. She's been there for me through thick and thin in things of my life, and has not only been the blah 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 on the phone, but then also, usually the next day, she'll say, by the way, let's talk about all that venting you were doing yesterday. What about this? What about that? What about really holding me accountable, and holding me accountable for doing work, necessary work to grow emotionally and spiritually. During this entire process, I also at some point became a mentor to other people. And where my growth, my practice giving and receiving love with having a mentor was great, my growth practicing and giving and receiving love with being a mentor was exponential. Because now I got to practice people breaking up with me. Or me not necessarily knowing how to show up for someone and having to work that out real time. Where do I say to myself, how do I want to say to someone else, you have to be accountable and yet I can be loving and kind, and or do I want to be like the first person? Do I want to be like this person? What kind of person do I want to be like to a mentor? It's a one-sided relationship, being a mentor, where I have to self-contain and have good boundaries around what I'm sharing and what I'm doing to be able to show up for someone else and make it about them. So that was a little bit frenetic for me when I made that decision, because I thought, who am I to be a mentor to someone else? Do I have what it takes? What if I don't have what someone wants? But I put all those thoughts aside and I just dove right in, and it worked out so well for me. My emotional and spiritual growth has skyrocketed. I can actually sit here and say that I'm an emotionally and spiritually mature person. And that actually transferred over into so many other aspects of my life. I now have a business mentor and a Toastmasters mentor and a mentor in every facet of life. And there's people that I realize too, I'm not gonna ask my mentor in my spiritual program for financial advice, right? And I'm probably not going to ask her also for advice around my speech giving. But then I have a business mentor that I'm going to ask about business things. And I have a Toastmasters mentor that I'm gonna go over my speeches with. So I'd like to give this experience to each one of you to really encourage you that even if it doesn't look perfect, even if it seems a little scary, even if you're thinking, oh, well, I'm an old timer and I know what I'm doing, having a mentor and being a mentor is a gift. You can practice giving and receiving love. And as you become more emotionally and spiritually mature, the whole world just becomes a better place. So with that, I encourage all of you to consider in any facet of your life that you have the opportunity to give, to be a mentor to someone else or have a mentor, to please do. Thank you.